Hey folks, hope you guys are having a great day. I know I'm having a great day. Evening. It's just about time. It's almost midnight. To close a couple things down. You guys are having a great evening. So thanks for joining me on I guess it's Monday night, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Guy named after Martin Luther King. Or a guy named after Martin Luther. I feel like most of the people I hang out with these days are not too keen on Martin Luther. Martin Luther's not a favorite. Martin Luther's an interesting historical figure, though, to take a look at as far as his biography goes. He, by all rights, didn't intend to start a reformation, and kind of most of his later, more radical positions, I suppose, compared to the orthodoxy, he didn't really have those initially. It's like he became more the Reform movement became more radicalized as things went along. All right. So it's kind of an interesting. He's a very interesting story to look at. Hold on. I don't remember where my boat is, or my airship is. I think it's. Where am I? Okay, I remember where it is now. You have to go back this way. I think I know where I need to go. You got to go to this Frost Gator. Would you hate to be, just cruising through the creek and here comes a Frost Gator? My upgraded guys. It's kind of funny, like they made their sprites try to look more adult and they look just smaller and weirder. It's no wonder people have more affection for the more, I guess, chibi looking. Can you not land on this? Interesting. Thought you could land right here. I think there's there it is, yeah. I think there's a guy in these bushes. Whoa, look at all these giants. Let's hit him with some... What do I got here? Fire 3. Bam. New sub, got into one of your rant videos. Loved it, and I see you playing Final Fantasy. Nice. Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Video that I came out with, I guess, yesterday was basically just based on the chat, from one of these streams. It's like we're talking about IQ, like... People put, I think, when we talk about what do you want to do with IQ? What is IQ trying to predict? And especially, what is IQ trying to predict for you as a person? And the answer is probably not much. If you're not smart enough to be like an engineer or something, you probably know that through your own experiences rather than needing, a test to tell you that. So... it's superfluous to most individuals. Useful for other things. I thought this was a little oasis area here. There it is, there it is. I landed right on top of it. So we got to buy this bottle. And... thank you, what else? I guess I could buy another bottle. So that's it. I mean, that's all this dialogue. Welcome. Alright. They're like a few months away from bankruptcy because of their other games tanked. Oh yeah, it wasn't Final Fantasy because the company was going under. I've heard something like that. Like it was their last... they thought it might be their last game. I'm trying to remember who would take this to. I think there's like a lake. We have to take it to a ferry. I think there's like a lake up here. We have to take this too. But here's the thing: is like, the NES version of this game, you'd probably not figure out where you were supposed to take this silly little thing. Oh, there's a village here. Is that where I'm supposed to take it? Is the village? Well, let's visit the village and see what they got. You take it to the city in the northeast. Is this it? I think you're supposed to take it here. Like, you'd never figure this out from talking to people. This town is Gaia. Gaia means earth. Have you been to the city south of here? I just cannot understand a word spoken there, and I have wondered what language. Let's see if they got some magic. What's happening, everyone? Yeah. You take it to the city in the northeast. I guess this is it. IQ's just a tool. You can give someone a rocket, but if they know nothing about physics, well, they aren't going anywhere. That's it. It's kind of what that video was about. It's like... Mostly I focused on credentialism. This person has a doctorate and therefore they're smart. Shouldn't we have them order society? No. The problem is, especially now, like as society becomes increasingly more complex, no one person or even group of people, no brain trust is remotely capable of being able to handle it. I'll get Cure 4 as well. This spell level is full. Someone else. Interesting. Magic. I would have gotten heal. Instead of harm 4. Oh well. We'll deal with it. So in Final Fantasy VII, the airship was the Highwind. Does it have a name here? No, it doesn't. It's just an airship. What are your top 5 SNES games? Ooh. Well, off the top of my head, it's probably Super Mario World. I mean, it's just that good of a game. Yeah, Ice 3. I think Break works as well. Ice 3. I'm trying to remember which ones are bugged. I mean, should I... Let me see what I already have here. Magic. Oh, he can't even cast this. Never mind. That was a waste of money. I think if he levels up more, he can do level 7, though. I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me find out. What Brack does. I have to look these up. Sorry. Let's see here. I think I have a list here. Black Magic. Red Wizard. So the Red Wizard can use Ice 3, but apparently that's it. Can't use Break. Breaks the enemy into little pieces. White Wizard can use it, though? That's weird. So that's interesting. The White Wizard could use the Break spell. I forgot these get weird later. Alright, whatever. What's that broom up to? It's talking backwards. Do you have great power? I do have great power. See the Buster Sword in the background. I'm assuming it's one of your favorite like mine. It's just the foam sword that I bought for my son to play with. And it just ended up here. He hasn't played with it in a while. The fairy at the spring was kidnapped. Okay. Let's see what armor they have. See what weapons. Cat claw. Can't use that. Oh, thank you for the $7. I appreciate it. On my lunch break in the trauma room. So thanks for keeping me awake. It's like lunch break. Are you doing like an overnight shift? Or I appreciate the super chat. Gold. I wonder what Pro Ring does. Let's find out. If you don't have the armor guides, this can be a little bit difficult. Pro Ring. I don't know what Pro Ring does. Pro Cape. It's not even on this list here. Pro Ring. I don't know what it does. It has 8 armor. We're buying it. Oh, my gold. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Man Theory. Yeah, I don't know if you're doing like a double or an overnight. I remember talking to a doctor a while back, and you know, their like standard shifts were like 12 hours or something, which is ridiculous. At least when he was doing like residency stuff when he was in a hospital. Everyone thinks the tower in Yanakurum Desert is a mirage. I wonder. I don't think it is. Seems the gold ring is better based on price. I have a gold all there already though. Armor. I think I can equip the pro ring. Interesting. Maybe I didn't buy it. Because I didn't buy it. Yeah, pro ring is 8 armor. Gold ring. Gold is... Oh yeah, this is a... But this is something that like my red wizard can wear. I guess there's a spring here somewhere. Maybe it's like... It's got to be up there. Our shifts can be 10 to 13 and a half hours if you get called in, so yeah. It's forever. There we go. Equip. There we go. A little bit more than the 1 armor gloves. So that'll help him out. Man, that's a long time. Of course, like, that was kind of my schedule when I was a band director and a musician. It's like, it's there till like 9 o'clock at night, every night. Got tired of doing that. Let me see, yes, there was a professor that studied Life-inish. Ooh, a pink pirate. Yarg, I'm a pink pirate. Hardy har, you are too late. I bottled the fairy and sold it to her at a caravan. This is a well. I like that. I always like that. It's like, you may think that this is special, but it is in fact just an ordinary well. I'm sure her mini cats were very impressed with the doctorate hanging on the wall. Wait, I missed something there. Oh, the protect ring or the ribbon. I always liked that the ribbon you can only wear it with like girl characters. Oh man, I think there is a spring in here, but I don't remember where it is. The guy said, "You're too late. I already stole the ferry. Sent her, sold the ferry to a caravan. You'll never get her back. Yarg, I don't know why I did it and why I told you, but that's what I did." Legend says the Sky Warriors flew about here and there from a castle high in the sky. The Mobile Oppression Palace. Also, God help us if doctors ran the government. Trust me, most of my friends are genius surgeons. Can't even do their own taxes. Have been preaching financial responsibility and crypto investing. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like we all have our realm of expertise. But the reality is that I think life is just too complex for any person to say that they can just order things properly. It's just not really something possible. See, I already got the black magic. You know, it's better to just let everybody have mastery over their own domain rather than try to enforce it. It's the problem with central planning. It's like, you know, wouldn't it be efficient if we just could look at the population and know how many shoes to make and then just make that many shoes? It's like, it doesn't work that way. Different people use the shoes differently and need different amounts of shoes. Okay, that must be the spring up there. It's the water, obviously. I looked, I'm like, what's that water? That's the spring, where you have to use the bottle. Reminds me of Castlevania 64 and how it pointed out that the sofa-looking object in front of you is indeed a sofa. Well, you'd have a hard time telling with Castlevania 64. Bottle. Fairy appears, then is gone. And then what do we get? Oh, there she is. That pirate trapped me in the bottle. I will draw ox ale from the bottom of the spring for you. It's like, thanks, I didn't ask for that, but cool, give it to me. Everyone has a plan to save the world and solve every problem. It's just how people are. And my plan to save the world and solve every problem is to empower the people who are near problems to solve them themselves. That's my genius plan. Man, there are so many homeless people in LA. That is a problem for people in LA to deal with. Not people in Washington, D.C. There's homeless in all of our inner cities. Why aren't people in the cities doing anything about it? Well, they have other things that are more important, like taxing the crap out of the people that live in the city. And not giving them police services. Yeah, okay. I keep thinking you can land like right here, but you can't. You know? It just looks like you'd be able to, but you can't. Yeah, it really depends on your vision. You know, if you're a believer in the constrained vision, then the best you can really hope for is just very prudent trade-offs. Rather than actual solutions, like fixing problems. Like, well, you can partially fix the problem and there's a cost to fixing it. There's nothing really that doesn't have some alternative cost to it. That's purely gain. There's always a plus and a minus to it. You know, I've talked with a lot of people about that. Even theologians will agree, you know, okay, well, cities in the past, maybe they legalized prostitution. It's like, why would they do that? It's like, well, they did it because it was a lesser evil than locking everybody up for engaging in prostitution. I'm a time traveler. I responded to the message below me. Having earned a master's degree and working closely with professors, I could say that academia is a much easier path than most professions. It depends. You know, some professions are easy and easy money. Probably easier than the academic path, if I'm being honest, but less secure in a lot of cases. So I think what attracts a lot of people to academia is you have the potential of being able to get paid a lot of money to do not a lot of work is a big one. You know, a lot of professors teach, you know, once you get tenure, you can basically just teach 3 classes a semester to graduate students. And you can pretty much half-ass those because the graduate classes are, you know, super specific on whatever you're doing anyway. So nobody, like no one in the undergrad, none of the undergrads ever see you. You teach 3 classes to like 7 people each and collect 150 grand a year sometimes. Why do the characters look different now? Oh, they got a class upgrade. I went and found some dragons and I gave them a rat tail and then they upgraded my classes. That's why they look different, yeah. So, I finished the ice cavern, got the floater, went off, talked to the dragons. Here's a dragon down here. This is your dragon sprite. Well, well, I see you have been honored. Alright, so we've got that saved. Now we go, there's a submarine over here, and it'll take us to the sea shrine. Warriors, you have ox ale. The mermaids wait. Please help them. Alright, here we are in the sea shrine. And that's what it's going to be. I think I have a map. Found this site that has a map. That's helpful. I do like just exploring randomly though, so that's probably what I'm going to do. Just use the map if like you really like have to use the map. I think this is like much less intense dungeon than say the ice cavern. I think the ice cavern is a pretty crazy one when you look at it. Trying to get my head around this. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay, looks like there's some treasure and stuff to be found. Okay, cool. Sea troll. Let's fight the sea troll. And that sea troll. Try lightning. And Zeus. Warrior looks buff as hell. Yeah, they grew up. They're in the manual they were called like their adult versions. They're all buff and dressed like cosplayers. And it looks like they're wearing sunglasses. They look totally 80s badass. Like bad dudes. Basically wasting the magic on the lobsters. It's just a blue scorpion. It's called lobster. Working as a professor on campus isn't bad as long as you're cool with being surrounded by ideologues all day. I mean, I've been there. I did that. Did that in my 20s. And got very disillusioned with it. I got very disillusioned as a graduate student because I realized graduate students are basically slave labor for like paper mills, for like writing papers for professors who then use those papers to get published in peer-reviewed papers that don't really peer review, and then use that to get tenure so that they can avoid teaching. So it's like this is the academic path. Is you get a bachelor's degree and hopefully you do good enough of that you can get into a graduate program, and then in the graduate program you're slave labor to a set of professors who are either trying to get tenure or trying to maintain their tenure if they're not on like sabbatical. And then they'll have you do a bunch of research or even write their papers for them, which they then publish. Nothing in here. I guess. Naga. And water. Literally water. We're fighting water here. Have you ever played a military board game like Advanced Squad Leader? If so, which ones are your favorite? I've played them, but I'm not a big player of them, so I can't really tell you. It's not my forte. I like stuff like that, but I haven't really done that much of it. I played like more tabletop RPG stuff. I've played like the battle tactics games, which are pretty fun. Yeah, I just haven't done that much of it. Fighting water would be a nightmare. Literally hitting the water with your sword. Let's go up and around this way. I think there's some more treasure. I found there's some stairs. There's a door. Yeah, if you get into the the academic thing, you get a bachelor's, hopefully you get a master's, you're a slave labor to a professor. You have that because he's on your committee, and you need to have him on your committee so you can get a master's. It's the main thing you need to get a master's is 3 people who like you. It's the most important thing. And so just swing into the air. These sea trolls die really easy. And then they're going to write your letters to get in your doctorate program. You get a doctorate. You're going to go be an adjunct professor somewhere, trying to find a full-time job, hoping that you get the full-time job. And then you hope your assistant professorship, you can turn it into a tenure track position. Because once you get tenure, basically, you can't get fired no matter how bad you are, and you can choose to teach like 3 classes a year for $100,000. Dropping in for a bit. What's up, Bradford? Hope you're having a good night. And that's what you try to do, but there's less and less. The funny thing is actual professors cost so much money that there's less and less of them at every university. So every time like a professor retires, what they usually try to do is replace him with 2 adjuncts. So you replace him. So your professor who makes $120,000 a year, let's say, retires, and you need to fill that gap. You're probably already filling the gap because he doesn't teach that much, right? So you're probably already filling the gap with adjunct. But you just go ahead and hire 1 adjunct to teach his 3 classes, or maybe 2. And you pay those adjunct professors like literally $800 a month. That's their job. Their job is they have to work at McDonald's to like supplement their. There's a door there. They have to work at McDonald's to supplement their income because they are so broke. Actually, let's hit that heal staff again. So yeah, there's more and more people with doctorates that just end up as adjunct professors. Like that's what I did. It's like I was adjunct in 2 different schools till I got very tired of that. And then I went to Vegas and I was a performer in Las Vegas. And then I quit doing that. And I moved back to California, got married, became a public school teacher because I only taught private school and university stuff before that. Did that for a while and quit doing that to stay home with my kids and write and do other stuff like this, do independent stuff full time. Oh, there's stairs there. I wonder where those stairs go. Maybe pretty far. Which stairs do I want to go on? I don't know. Ba-ba-ba-da-bum, bum, bum. So I guess there's some treasure. Yeah, we'll take A. I think it's this one. What are your thoughts on the minimum wage, good or bad? So the minimum wage is either, it comes in 2 categories. It's either 2 things, depending on what's going on in economics. It's either irrelevant or it's bad. It's never actually good. And there's some reasons for that. So if it's, let's say that the supply of labor in a given market at the bottom end, which is going to be unskilled labor, is below what you set the minimum wage at. You are going to just make employers incentivize workers who are going to be at the productivity level of whatever the minimum wage is. Meaning anybody who is below that basically can't get a job. So you create large amounts of unemployment. This has been documented many, many times. And it's just like basic economics. If the lower end rate of labor is higher than minimum wage, then the minimum wage simply doesn't matter. So those are the only 2 things that you have there. So the question is, why would you want a minimum wage? Well, you want a minimum wage because you have this idea that workers should be, people say, oh, people should make, no one should have to raise a family on this much per month. Well, the idea of a minimum wage is that, you know, it should be a beginning salary, right? If you actually wanted to raise wages, the main thing you would do, rather than creating a minimum wage, is to limit the supply of labor, limit the supply of unskilled labor. And what that means is reducing the amount of third world scabs you bring in to work your shit jobs for no money. See, the only the only reason we even talk about minimum wage is that there's so much immigration, there's basically an unlimited supply of unskilled immigration or unskilled labor. And so the unskilled labor coming to the United States is going to view the bottom end minimum wage that they can get, whatever their wage that they can get. Sometimes they work below minimum wage off the books. It's still better than what they do in their home country, and they'll even send money home and just live like absolute paupers. Or actually what happens a lot, and people don't want to admit this, but you have a lot of immigrants, and I know because I've worked in these communities, that they work for cash, like they're farm labor, and so they get paid cash at the end of the day. They don't declare any of their income, and they receive massive government benefits as if they don't make any money. So they get, a housing stipend, they get, food stamps. They get the equivalent of $2,500 a month of welfare while they're working for cash. So illegal immigrants tend to do pretty well as a result. A lot better than people realize. There's this story that illegal immigrants are doing really badly economically, and the truth is they're doing better than a lot of natives economically, but not for the reasons that most people think. It mostly has to do with the fact that they are receiving huge benefits while not contributing anything. Not paying taxes, basically. So they don't pay taxes, and then they receive massive benefits, and they still get paid and can work off the table. And I've seen it happen millions of times. And then it's really funny because I'd see these houses and they'd have tarps on the roof because whoever owns the house is such a shitty landlord, he won't fix the roof. And because he's selling it to illegal immigrants, he could say, like, well, as long as you keep bringing me the housing stipend, I won't call ICE, right? So they don't really fix their houses or maintain them, but then they have, 20 gold. Well, that was totally worth my time. They have really nice cars and stuff. So they're very nice cars parked outside of absolute garbage homes because of the way that they run the system. This happens a lot. It's not universal, but it really does happen a lot. So yeah, if you wanted to make minimum wage pointless, all you have to do is limit the labor supply of where the minimum wage matters, which is going to be low-skilled, entry-level labor. So stop immigration from the third world, and you don't need a minimum wage. Let's take it one step farther, because we have multiple kinds of immigration that we really shouldn't have in the United States. And I'm sorry if this is getting a little ranty, but it's not good for the people that we are doing this. We have a class of indentured servants called H-1B visa holders. And H-1B visa holders, a lot of them come from India and maybe work in the tech sector. They can't leave their job or they get deported. So they're basically chained to a desk working way below what the market rate should be. Like, the whole tech industry actually runs on indentured servitude, like high-skilled indentured servitude. It is crazy to think about, but yeah, it runs on high-skilled indentured servitude. No one really wants to talk about it because they're like, no, we need those immigrants because they're smart. Like, we don't need the dumb Mexicans. I'm like, I don't think the Mexicans are dumb or anything like that, right? They're not dumb for coming here. They're making the best decision that they can make, obviously. But it's just the idea that, we need these good skilled immigrants. It's like, well, you could just train the natives to be more skilled. I'm sure there would be more people willing to go into computer programming if it paid more than $30,000 a year. But it pays $30,000 a year because you have a bunch of Indians chained to desks in San Jose paying $2,200 a month in rent and just living like absolute paupers in the first world in order to patch up code that they have no idea. I mean, then you get another layer about how code ends up working. But yeah, so the H-1B thing is is actually, I think, an injustice perpetrated on immigrants, and is also not good for people. I don't know what the mage staff does. Let's find out. I think I have a list of them. Staves. Mage. Cats fire 2 when used. Now that is a cool one. Who are we going to give that one to? Let's actually give the Zeus. I'm going to trade the Zeus with Bert, and he can actually equip it. And he can use it, too. And for weapons, we're just going to trade this mage staff down to Larry. And he can use that fire one. Actually, I probably don't want that. Because really, Bert should be hitting with his sword because he hits super hard. Let's trade this again. Let's do this here. And just put the Zeus. Let's trade that back. Alright. Sorry. Immigrants does not equal illegal immigrants. I've talked about legal immigrants too. Legal immigrants are also a problem. And it's just an economic thing. You're just adding labor supply. Everybody complaining about stagnant wages. It's because of immigration at the heart of it. It has a big influence on everything in our society. You know, people complain about stagnant wages for nurses. Well, you're importing a lot of nurses from other countries. That's reality. There's how many Filipino nurses have you met? How many Indian doctors have you met? They come here because they can make more money doing it here than their home country and do better. Obviously, it's better for them, but it's not necessarily better for our own population. So anyway, that's that. Companies that pay their workers minimum wage are not designed to support their employees and their employees' entire family. That's true. Yeah, they have resources that help them get signed up for everything. There's whole, there's whole things that go into that. There's whole people it's their job to do that. It's to sign people up for it. Same thing in the education system. People don't realize that education is a point of sale for various kinds of welfare, and people are trained to not think of it that way. But that's more or less exactly what it is. There's free or reduced lunch. There's you have social workers that work through schools that the parent will come in and be like, "You're not getting welfare. We'll help you get assistance." And so it's a point of sale for welfare. By design. A lot of illegals will also share a house apartment, lowering their individual rent massively as well. They do that. They do lots of. They're very. I mean, immigrants are not stupid. Like this idea that they're doing the best thing that they can do, but they're also exploiting a system as cleverly as they can. I don't hate them as people or anything like that. But I have to recognize what effect it has on society and the system. Then there's the cultural argument, right? Which is that, it's better to have neighbors than roommates. I don't have anything against Indians. I grew up with one of my best friends growing up was Indian. I grew up with Indians. Nothing against them. But, better neighbors than roommates, I guess. I think there's more treasure in this level. Up over here. Correct. My main concern about immigration is how it depresses wages. I am married to the daughter of an immigrant, so xenophobia isn't much of a thing for me. Yeah. I mean, my wife's family, they're actually past her generation, they're all Dutch immigrants, so you don't think about them being immigrants because they're white. They can't be immigrants, they're white. But they are immigrants, or they were immigrants, so at one point my family came over on the Mayflower. But yeah, it has an effect on wages, and that's something that most people aren't willing to take. And then they make fun of it. They're like, they took our jobs. It's like, no, they literally made it so that your job isn't really profitable. I wonder what damage. Let's find out what damage the light axe does. 28 damage. That's pretty good. I don't know who can use it though. Fighter and the knight. But these guys both have an ice and a flame sword. Who has the flame sword? Okay. Weapon. Flame, ice. Okay. Which one's worse? Flame is worse. So the light axe, it has a little lower hit. We'll do it. Equip the light axe. And then the flame sword is better than the giant sword, so we will trade that to the red wizard. Equip that. Alright. Alright, I just got that. A lot of the illegals I worked with were from the Mexican middle-class worker here to get wages and Social Security, planning to retire to homes they already own in Mexico. I met some that were like that. You know, I worked in the poultry industry. I've been working in ag, you know, my whole life, basically. So, you know, I know, like, the real history of the UFW, which was originally a union of Filipino workers in Delano. And then it became the largest landowner in California, is the UFW. So when I say that unions are corporations, that's kind of an example of what I'm talking about. People who are already kind of in the cult of the idea of unions often don't see where unions end up going. Whoa! Dang. Look at all these guys. Actually, I forget. These guys can actually do magic at this point. Like, I could be getting magic for these guys to do. Let's do that mage staff. And Zeus. Let's hit it. See, occasionally in Final Fantasy 1, you get like 9 opponents at a time. And I think in some of the other ones, you can actually get more than 9. You can get like 12, and there's so many that you can't even see them on screen. My family were brought over about 15 years before the Civil War. I had 3 grandfathers at Gettysburg, none of which knew each other, which is cool. That is cool. So yeah, I had family come over on the Mayflower. I also have Cherokee ancestry on my dad's side from his mom, who was a Brown. And so I've got a Native ancestry too. Staff. Speaking of landowners, Bill Gates is buying up tons of land all over the country, thousands of acres. Pretty concerning that billionaires and foreign nationalists can just buy up tons of land. Now, here's an interesting way that you can legally counter Bill Gates buying up land. You guys want to know it? It's called squatter's law. So it's called squatter's rights. So you go to his land and just build a shack there and live there, and then you own it. If he fails to remove you from the land for, like, I don't remember how, it varies by state, but here in California, it's like 2 years. So if he doesn't remove you from the land in 2 years, then you own it. This also comes back to, like, that's actually, squatters' rights are actually important. I'm going to defend squatters' rights right now. Squatters' rights are really important because, like, for example, in California, when California became a state, almost the entirety of the state was owned by 5 Spanish families. So they couldn't control or maintain all of that land. It's simply, like, impossible to do that. So it was important for people to be able to go to land that wasn't being used and be able to use it. All right. Let's see. Only knights can use this opal armor, so that's cool. I'll have someone equip it. Trade ice armor for opal. Equip opal armor. There we go. Protects from ice attack. Flame protects from ice attacks. Ice protects from fire attacks. Opal armor. I don't think it does anything special, just high armor. Cesar Chavez would literally stop illegals at the border and get people deported. Do you think Trump's border wall is a good allocation of resources? I'm not sure it's really that effective and will eventually rust and rot. I think just having more roaming border guards is better. Well, that's a good debate. It's a good debate. I don't know. I think the best thing would probably be... I don't know. The best thing would be to not have incentives to come here. So in other words, if you didn't have the welfare state, you really wouldn't need border guards because you wouldn't have a lot of people trying to cross the border to get something. You know, but because you have a welfare state, you have to control immigration. So it's a question of how you're going to do that. You can do it actively by going and rounding people up and sending them home, or you can do it passively with walls. Walls require less ongoing maintenance than people. You know, a wall of people is only as effective as those people are, like the existence of those people. So, yeah, I don't know. Where am I going? Where I'm going. Go down here to B. I don't even know what my ancestry is other than Spaniards from my mother's side. A lot of people are like that. I feel like our country, you know, I think we get interested in ancestry because we're not really from here. Like everybody's from somewhere else. And so it's like, I wonder where I'm actually from. And people didn't really keep track of it or talk to their kids, you know. This person was from here and this person was from that. You have to like go and research it. Squatters' rights are fine and dandy until you come home from a week vacation and have to go through garbage courts to kick a bunch of homeless vagrants out of your home. Well, I actually had squatters squatting in my wife's house when we were getting married because she had a house that had renters and they trashed it. And we just figured out it was easier to abandon it to the bank. And so that's what we did before we got married. Like a calculated abandonment of the note. Whoa. Mermaids. What's up, mermaids? You have responded to me. What's up, sexy mermaids? Some treasure. Gold. 9,000 gold. Opal. Did I already buy that? No, I didn't. Now my bags are full, though. Good morning. Either that or Mexico plus Central America needs to become a country their citizens want to stay in. Yeah? People talk about brain drain as well. It's like, well, we're going to get the best and brightest from India. Well, that kind of comes at the expense of India. My friend Daryl went to the land and then never returned. I've often wondered what happened. Maybe she grew legs and walked away. This is a reference to... I don't think this is in the Japanese version. I don't know. I'll have to look it up, but it's a reference to Daryl Hannah in that mermaid movie. Unbelievable. You can breathe underwater? I'm impressed. You found the treasure. It's like the NPCs in this game give you so little helpful stuff. Make lineage records great again. Plus they make great wall decors. They do. My great uncle Vandy, who's a nuclear physicist, was really into genealogy, and he would mail us that stuff. It's like, you know, we figured out that, you know, our ancestors, this guy, Sir John Stewart, who had a tiny, tiny fief in Scotland and decided to leave it because it was so tiny. This is the shrine's top floor. The Fiend of Water Kraken lives on the bottom floor. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I think family trees look kind of cool. So many great-grandfather was the last surviving passenger of the Mayflower. I think we care about ancestry because it gives us human narrative greater than ourselves. That's a That's a good way of thinking about it. Splash, that's the movie. Splash. Wasn't Daryl Hannah in Blade Runner? I seem to remember her in Blade Runner. She was Pris. As long as the Fiend of Water lives, oh boo-hoo. Can't hold anymore. Alright, we gotta drop something. Armor. Okay, gotta decide what we're gonna drop here. The gloves. Easy decision. They're worth like 2 gold. 2 gil, actually. An opal shield. Well, that's pretty good. Trade that around. There we go. I saw her. I love the new Super Saiyan armor. 5,000 gold. At this point in the game, the gold is really easy to get, or gil is really easy to get. Yeah, she was in Blade Runner. 10 gold. 10,000 gold. I think this whole game was programmed by like one guy fairly quickly. Are we going to become bubbles? Well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? How do we get over to that? How do we get over to that side? Maybe you walk all the way around. Actually, I think go get there from here. Daryl Hannah's been in some great movies. I loved her in Kill Bill. Oh, that's right. She was the one eye. Cyberpunk Game of the Year, anyone? I don't know about that. I don't know. It seems like there's people who really like it, and then there's just like people who are like, this is garbage, and CD Projekt Red is evil. I found the slab. So we need the slab. The wizard will tell us something about the slab. Apparently our armor is full though, so we gotta make some decisions here pretty quickly. Like, I think we're gonna have to drop something valuable like the silver shield. I just don't really see a way around it. Doesn't matter that much. Oh, that one's empty. An opal arm band. Can't hold anymore, okay. Equip. Item. Armor. Trade the silver for the opal. Equip opal. We still have silver helms. So, and then we can drop this guy. You really want to keep like the ice armor because that's useful. An opal helm. All right, let's armor trade for the opal helm. Equip it. Inventory space being limited kind of sucks in this game. Best thing Cyberpunk has done is make us appreciate other games more, I think. Cyberpunk was alright. More Grand Theft Auto than Witcher, which was a big letdown. So, I think it's probably one of those games where there was so much hype, there was so much expectation that you really weren't... There's no possible way to live up to it. Kind of like Episode 1. It's like The Phantom Menace. It's like The Phantom Menace, it would be almost impossible for The Phantom Menace to be good enough for people to not be disappointed with it. I think we have to go back out this way. Got a lot of treasure, though. Treasure's good. I think, you know, I watched a video from Razorfist today, and I linked it on Twitter. And, you know, all these AAA games are trying to be every genre at once. It's like, this is an open world thing with RPG elements, and it's like, what happened to strategy games? You know, what happened to focused gameplay? Like, something I really appreciate going back and playing this game is just how focused the gameplay is on this turn-based thing in the micro, you know, strategizing how you're going to attack and defeat a snake right here. And then, you know, figuring out how you're going to equip your guys, what magic you want to buy, meta level, like what kind of party you want to make up. Like, the gameplay is very focused. And now most games, it's not like that. You know, there's really no, I can't think of any. Can you think of any? I see a lot of these AAA games, and it's like, I don't even know what genre it's in, because it's trying to be it's like cran apple, cran grape. It's like cranberries getting into all the other juices. It's like, this has RPG elements. It's like, okay, it has a skill tree. That's not an RPG. It's a different thing. Yeah, it's like a single gray blob, and it's not really good at anything. It doesn't tell like a good narrative. Doesn't tell a good narrative. It doesn't have engaging gameplay. The gameplay ends up being boring and repetitive. You know, the stealth is bad. The RPG mechanics are bad. The inventory is bad. The equipment's bad. The story's bad. The animations are bad. You know, it's like the animations are good. Like, very pretty looking kind of drab games. This is something I actually liked about the PS4 Spider-Man game, which I got like around Christmas, and me and my son played it, and we had a lot of fun with it. It's really just focused on like gameplay. It's like, go over here and fight guys, just punch them, and that's the gameplay. And in between it, you get to like swing on your webs, and that's it. Yeah, I really like I really like Ghost in the Shell as well. I really have a lot of attachment, I think, to that first movie because of how just cool it was in the 90s. And what a weird plot it had. And you had to watch it several times to even figure out what the heck was going on. Like this AI controlling people and hacking people's brains, basically, and making them forget who they were. Extremely cool. Extremely cool stuff to me. So yeah, PS4 Spider-Man was just really focused on gameplay, and it was a short game too, you know? You could try to do all the collectibles, or you could just play through the minimum level and have, you know, you didn't need to like skill up your character. It had a skill tree, but you didn't need to like grind out your skill tree or something in order to excel. You could, but you didn't have to. Oh, I just realized that now that you said it, games now is trying to be everything at once, making it feel generic and boring. Like that's saying Jack of the Trade, Master of None. Yeah. Cyberpunk has a huge list of undelivered promises. CDPR spread themselves way too thin and ended up with many shallow elements instead of few polished elements. That's what I'm generally seeing, I guess. From people I trust. I didn't buy it. I know better than to buy it. Plus, I just don't have time to play it. I was like, at the time, I was talking to my friend. I stole this idea of playing all the Final Fantasy games from my friend Pete. He's like, I'm going to play all the Final Fantasy games. I've been playing it. I'm like, I'm going to take that idea and steal it. And I'm going to stream it. You know, that sounds like a lot of fun. And that's basically what I did. I thought it would be fun, and I guess it was. Anything in here? Nothing. A sea troll. Seems like the big open world aspect comes from Grand Theft Auto being a popular franchise these days. Now, yeah, Grand Theft Auto had a big open world, and it was really good at what it did, but Grand Theft Auto also had really good gameplay. So it actually had very focused gameplay when you think about it. It's like, your main thing was like, you had some basic third-person shooting elements, and then you had steal cars and collect things, you know? So the idea that people had the freedom to roam around, the world didn't really restrict you in terms of your motion or anything like that. But really the main things that you could do was like drive a car and listen to the radio. And so it was immersive because you were just really focused on the gameplay of like stealing stuff and going through the stories and doing the missions. And the missions were all pretty focused around things which were fun to do, like steal cars and run away from the police, rather than focused on things which aren't fun. You know, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of some examples. I don't usually sit through games that have a bunch of things that aren't fun. But other people will have, like, I don't know. Imagine, you know, there's like the mini games of Final Fantasy, like Blitzball. It's like, the whole game, it's like you have to do Blitzball. If you have to do Blitzball to do any, like, progress, it just feels awful. I'm trying to think of an example that has this. But the best example I can think of is World of Warcraft. Like, modern World of Warcraft, it's like, you have to play parts of the game that are boring and bad and not polished so that you can get your minimum item level gear to do the stuff you want to do, which is dungeons and raids. That's why I haven't played WoW in a while. I was playing with my friends quite a bit, but they kind of like fell off, and then I was like, I'd rather play Final Fantasy because then I could complete a game and the story and feel good about it, rather than, okay, what do I need? I got to go out to Torghast this week and do that. I got to do Torghast twice. I mean, I like made my legendary, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm out of stuff to do in this game, and you know, all that I'm looking at here is grinding the same things over and over again. Well, I got to grind rep with these guys. I got to do world quests. All of it's so boring. So it's like, why would I play a game that's 70% boring stuff to play 30% I really like? You go back to classic. I mean, if I go back and play again, maybe it'll be classic, but probably not this year because I just don't have the time. And I have so many other things I want to do, like play Final Fantasy. And there's Final Fantasy MMOs I've never played. I'd like to play those on stream and have fun with those for a little bit. Here we go. Grand Theft Auto may be open world, but it usually serves as a fun distraction. When it comes to the missions, they are handled as a very well-polished third-person shooter. Yeah, it's good. Like, there's only two big gameplay elements, which is driving cars and shooting guns. It's not like a bunch of things where there's quick time events in the middle of it. This is something that I didn't like in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Is there's a bunch of sections with little mini game parts where you have to like time a button press. And people saw me fail this button press timing garbage on stream, like, repeatedly. And it's like, man, I can't time pressing a square button. It's like, this isn't the actual gameplay, though. Trying to coordinate pressing two buttons at once isn't the gameplay. It's just something that you do in between the gameplay. It gives you a break from the normal gameplay, if you believe that. That's kind of why I like cutscenes. Like, cutscenes are a break from the normal gameplay. That's why they're fun. Like, I don't mind the cutscenes even in something like Final Fantasy 13 that's like Final Cutscene 13. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's a really good game. It's very polished, and it does actually have a pretty tight focus on the gameplay. But they have these sections that just are wasting your time. It's like, you're just wasting my time. In the original Final Fantasy VII, this section would have just been, you walk over to a panel and press a button and it moves something. Not like you have to time it and move it a certain way. You know, all that is just kind of boring. It's just interrupts. The squats, I did the squats. There was also one like moving robot arms. The squats thing is optional though. Like, you don't have to do the squat minigame. But there are sections where you have to like move robot arms around to get past little puzzles, and in the original, something like that was just like a simple puzzle, and then you get on with life. Something here. Looking at a map. Okay. Fight. Heal. Let's do harm. Have harm 3. Let's do harm 2. Minigames in 7 were not this long, yeah. They were a little break, you know. I still think Cyberpunk minus most of the cool stuff is the most realistic fictional idea of the future. Yeah. Like, we're already living it. I mean, I am literally a cyborg. You know, I'm a cyborg in the most literal sense. Like, I have an implant implanted into my skull. So, I mean, I am a... Because there's always, like, some new people who don't know, like, about, like, the implant or anything. Like, there's a bolt drilled into my skull. So, yeah, I'm a cyborg. Not the cool kind that, like, can interface with computers. The kind that can hear things now. In another sense, you could think of your cell phone as a cybernetic extension. It's a telepathy device. It's just not integrated with your body. But it's always on your body and near your body. It senses when it's off your body now. You know. Between the original Ghost in the Shell film and Akira, which one, in your opinion, had the most unique plot for its time, respectively? Probably Akira. I think Ghost in the Shell was building on a lot of other things. But Ghost in the Shell was very good, too. It had a good plot. It's a hearing aid. Yeah, it's a bone-anchored hearing aid. What, for you, makes the most fun kind of protagonist? Not necessarily the best or the most compelling or realistic, but the most fun. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Probably someone who has a bit of a humorous personality, I'm going to say. So, like, Spider-Man is he's always wisecracking, he's funny, he doesn't take himself so seriously. You know, that's my kind of fun protagonist. Wizard mummies. Swing through the air. Get rid of that wizard mummy. Maybe we can get a heal in here. I think the squatting... Okay, yeah. Did you do the squat? I did the squatting minigame. I didn't have a hard time with it. Some were pretty fun. Like, the fourth one just plays like a strategy game. Oh, that one in the original Final Fantasy VII was awful. I hated that one, that strategy game. You know, when you know how to do it, it's fine. But it's just like, what a weird little tower defense thing to just drop in the middle of a game. It's just weird to me. Age, and we will do Zeus. More Spider-Man or more Duke Nukem? I don't know. Probably more Duke Nukem. We've had Spider-Man oversaturation, especially in the comic market, for like 30 years. Clone Spider-Mans, Spider-Man 2099, Ultimate Spider-Man. There were 3 main Spider-Man titles running at one time when I was a kid. There was Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. You know, and the really good one, I think, was Web of Spider-Man, because it had Sal Buscema doing it, you know, like it was really high-quality art, and it was all black and white. But they had, like, the flashier artists, like Todd McFarlane on, like, Amazing Spider-Man. It's not a bad thing, it's just... it was what it was at the time. Cyborg Chicken Farmer. I actually would like that tower defense minigame more if it wasn't so slow, yeah. You know, actually, that's something really good about the modern ports of Final Fantasy VII. You got that speed up button. I abused the hell out of that in that section when I was replaying it about 2 years ago after my daughter was born. I'll play it again this year, and it'll be fun. I was thinking about playing the actual PS1 version, rather than the... Or we could do like the remake, and then I think I could probably find a save on my newer, like on my Switch version, that just picks it up at disc 2, or like after, what am I thinking of? That first city. Midgar. We could probably just do that, and that might be fun. A fun protagonist would be people like Luffy, Zidane. I like Zidane a lot, yeah. Zidane's very likable. These are people who aren't so up their own butt with seriousness. Yeah, that is something I like. I do like super serious Conan in like the Conan the Barbarian movie. But even he has like some humor to him. I like Guts. He's super serious. I like him really super serious too, but I think if you want him really fun and likable, then they have to have some humor to him. So one of my characters in, if you're reading the Moonsong books, hopefully come up with a third one here soon. I don't know where it is. Anyway, the main character in that one, he's got a certain humor to him that I think was kind of fun to write. I found another light axe. Interesting. Here we go. Who's got the good stuff? Okay. I'm not going to use that light axe, but it can sell it for gold. Yakuza fixes it by taking your super serious protagonist and making him sing karaoke to J-pop. Yeah, I like stuff like that. I like things that are a little bit more lighthearted. Things that are lighthearted, I think, are quite a bit of fun to me. If you like Dragon Quest, like a Dragon Quest is for you. I like the underdog character. Found some gold. Let's use this mage. Zeus. I love dark themed stories. I find them more intriguing. Yeah, I mean, I've done dark stuff too. Eyes on the Wall is pretty dark. I mean, the whole Krampus Christmas thing. This guy, it's mostly all dark and melancholy stories, kind of by intent. It's a good collection for 2020. Same thing with Corona-chan. I think I might unpublish Corona-chan. We've had it run for almost a year at this point, so might unpublish it at a year or something. I'm not sure what I'll do. I thought we're just fighting sharks. I like these sharks like jump out of the water and you gotta fight them. Too many angsty grimdarks all over. Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people write grimdark not in the cool way that like Black Company. They write it more in a modern way where everybody is like a emo, self-reflecting narcissist, rather than something that's, you know, actually just dark situations. Age. Zeus. Bought it, but I'm only in the first story right now. Yeah, the first story is, I think, the new one. I think that's The Wasting Desert. That's a pretty fun one. I had fun writing that. I had just finished writing a tragedy it's a book that'll come out this year. That I think is pretty fun. It's like I want to write something that's really like historical, or not, I mean historical, but like in the tradition of tragic theater, but is prose, you know. And I did that, and it was fun, but I decided the end of 2020, I decided December 2020 was just not the time for a story like that. So I'll release it in 2021. In my opinion, the Dresden Files does a good job with it. I really like that series. Super dark stuff. I don't think it's super dark. And the protagonist gets messed up all the time, but he also wisecracks and stops for Burger King a lot. Yeah, I get that. I get he's very... I don't think it's particularly dark, but I get that he's a very likable character. And I do think Harry Dresden is a very likable character. I think that's probably why it's been such a successful series so far. Ribbon! I wonder what ribbon. You can wear a ribbon. One armor, -1 evasion. Protects from special attacks. Interesting. I don't know if I even want to wear that. It's kind of fun though. I think the stairs up. There it is. I like realism, and I guess I just don't see happy endings as realistic. Either that or I'm a sadist and enjoy seeing characters tortured and miserable. Well, I mean, resolution is usually... So here's the thing about happy endings. Happy endings usually mean resolution of the conflict. Right? Now, the villain can succeed, and I suppose that's a resolution of the conflict, but it's just not the one people want. So, if you want the super skill of writing is to basically prolong giving people the resolution they want as long as possible. That's really how you're gonna make it a page turner. If you punish the reader hard for going to the end of the story and everything turns out the way that they didn't want, and it's not in a way that they like, people aren't gonna like it. They're gonna get really upset about it. It's something that I'm aware of, and it's something I was worried about with the end of Eyes in the Walls, because that one has an ending that people really like the ending, but it's not an ending that is necessarily happy. You figure there's a definite resolution. You figure out what happened, which you're uncertain about for a long time, but it's not. It's definitely not the resolution that people really wanted, I think. I think we're on level 5. Yeah. To go fight, I think, the Fiend of Water. Boom. Ooh, an eyeball. So I'm not even using my magic. This is awesome. Just wanted to thank you for all the advice over the years. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Just finished my novel's first draft at 116,000 words. That's a good chunk. It's like the length of a good solid fantasy novel. Eyes in the Walls was really awesome. Thank you. But I still say it was a very bad idea to listen to it in the dark of my room as I went to bed. That I wrote it in the dark after midnight, like in the same hour that I'm playing this. That's when I wrote it, because that was the time I had to write it. So that was when I wrote it, and so I developed a really good practice during that time, during the month. I wrote it all in the month of November of 2019, I think, and released it in December 2019. I developed the habit of, after I'm done working, I got to do something like play a game. I got to do something that is not an active thing. Let's see. Mage staff. Yeah, I'm not even like using my magic here. I really should. But yeah, you can listen to the full audiobook on YouTube, which is cool. I wouldn't say it was fun to write it. It was very compelling for me to write it, and I enjoyed writing that horror story, especially once I kind of figured out how I wanted to take the ending. But yeah, because I would write like kind of grotesque stuff before bed, I figured out, yeah, I have to go take a break and like play a game or read a book. Got to do something. Like, that's mandatory. If I don't, and I didn't do that transition last night, and I'm so tired, and I went to bed and I just was like awake. Wait, that's not the way. I just lay awake for an hour before managing to get to sleep. Which really sucks, because then I was very tired all day. Keep using that heal staff. Have you done a video on setting moods for writing, like music, time of day, surroundings? This might be a weird question. I don't think I have. But I think being direct and upfront with the information you're giving is probably superior to trying to set a mood. You know, you can probably set a mood pretty quickly. Smells, I think, are really good. I've done some mood setting stuff. You know, Eyes in the Walls, there's really good examples, like describing the setting in such a way that the character is having a feeling about it. You know, like I described the father's apartment is feeling cozy, which is this feeling of, it's the best word I can describe it. You can see like cozy threads on 4chan or on Reddit or something. There's a strong contrast between the inside and the outside. The inside is quiet, the outside is loud. The inside is a dark room, the outside is a bright city. That's the feeling of cozy, where you're in a space that is very different from the outside space, and therefore you feel comfortable and you feel relaxed and safe as a result. Those are moods like that. They're harder to communicate stuff like that. You don't want to start usually with weather, because weather doesn't necessarily set the mood. You really want to talk about how the character feels about it. Like rain, everybody feels different about rain. But if the character is miserable from the rain and he feels cold from the rain. I actually started a book with rain. What the hell am I talking about? I'll read it to you. I'll read it to you. I have it in this one, which you can still get. Fantasy Christmas one. I have trouble sleeping every night, it seems. It's a good topic. Yeah, I figured out that I have to do some kind of transition, or I just, no matter how tired I am, my mind, it just has a hard time winding down. So like, better routine for me really helped. Where am I looking? This is Muramasa. It's in Needle Ash. The opening of Needle Ash is, I have to get man, I set this type really small. I was trying to pack a lot of books in here. All right, here we go. Get us some light in here. This is a bad day to give battle. Well, first of all, I have a poem above that, but this is a bad day to give battle, Michael thought. He walked through the muddy tracks of the forward camp, grumbling as he felt mud slip between his sabatons and his boots. Water was dripping through a gap in his open visor, running along his nose into his beard, making his helm seem stifling, even in the cold rain. He flexed his hands, willing the nerves that fought against death before each battle to obey his mind. As he ambled through the wagons and tents, he saw Angelico, his favorite lieutenant, huddling under a makeshift canvas canopy held up by barrels of unopened brandy. These were pieces reserved for a celebration, the occurrence of which seemed to Michael to be less likely with each passing day, and each stalemate skirmish with the Fairlees army. So in that one paragraph, what information am I giving you? Well, it's raining. I'm opening with weather. You really shouldn't open with weather. But I'm not describing the clouds. It's not like it was a dark and stormy night. Rather, the rain is making this character uncomfortable. And we figure out he's in full armor, because I just mentioned a couple pieces of armor. Sabatons, he has an open visor. So we know that he's wearing he's basically wearing plate armor. And there's a battle about to take place, which is why he's flexing his hands and he's feeling nervous. So he's really focusing on his nerves. He feels hot, even though it's cold, because he's nervous. His hands are going numb because he's nervous. And then he sees a friend, and he remembers that they're never opening those casks of brandy because they're never really celebrating. They've been locked in a stalemate with another army. So that's a way that I set the mood, just to show you how I do it. Everybody does it differently. In a hole there lived a hobbit, not a dark, wet, nasty hole, nor a dry, sandy hole. Right? It's kind of setting the mood. It's a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. He's kind of doing cozy. It was cozy, that hobbit hole. We can get a heal off here. See if I can get to the end of I think I'm at the end of this dungeon, and after that I'll stop the stream. Oh, yeah, the routine was super helpful for me because I've always had trouble sleeping. I got poisoned. My mind tends to be overactive at night, and I overthink things. I also figured out not to release like YouTube videos and stuff right before sleeping, because then I start thinking about whether it was good and whether I should, you know what I mean? Like you start to double think what you're doing, or double guess yourself. And that's not really good. You want to be able to not think about it. So I usually will set videos to go live like in the morning or something. And then it's not a big deal. Alright. I think the boss is coming up. How does Needle Ash fit in with Water of Awakening? It's a sequel. It's a sequel. It has some of the same characters in it. You have to read Water of Awakening to understand Needle Ash. No, you don't. Book 3, I'm going to come out with Book 3 this year. You won't have to actually read the first 2 to understand Book 3. Oh, here we go. Sorry, there's no gameplay on. So, yeah, you won't have to read Book 1 or 2 really to understand 3. It's a self-contained story, but all the lore, if you're looking to gain some perspective on all the lore that's there, then yeah, you're going to want to read them in order, because that's revealed through that sequence. So yeah, some of the characters reappear, and some of the characters from Water of Awakening, in fact, some of the main characters will be back in Book 3, but they're not in the role of the protagonist. And there's reasons why I do that, because I think it's more interesting to introduce a new character and explore a new character than to spend all of your time just doing the same character again and trying to find new ways for that character to act. You end up kind of torturing the character and making them do way too many different things. If you've read any long series that really focus on one character, that tends to happen. Is like you get this problem where they do cure, why not? Like the characters have to go backwards, or they have to act in a way that isn't normal for them, or you have to do something that shocks them. It's pure. I don't think I need to be really topped off for this, but let's go ahead and get everything kind of situated back here again. "10 out of 10 would not Revenge of Jedi again." I like it when it's earned, like being the good guy pays off despite the upfront cost. Yeah. Makes me want to read that book. I'm glad. You should read it. You can actually, I don't think you can get the first one for free anymore, but you can get it. "The Fiend's ball is shattered, evaporating all the water. Ho, ho, ho! How foolhardy to dare challenge me, Kraken, the Fiend of the water." Here we go. I think he's weak to... I don't know. Let's just hit him with Fire 3. See what he does. Character range gets messed up due to it. God's Ghost had that issue. Last night I had that issue. My brain was bouncing against my skull with so many ideas. So I looked at my trusty Switch and started gaming for a bit. Yeah, I used to like have a Kindle, and I would read in bed. I figured out that I can't really do that now because it like wakes my wife up. So I usually just try to do that beforehand. And if I can't sleep, I'll just get up. I'm going to hit him again with Fire 3. Does anyone need healing? Let's do heal 3. Bam. Not hitting him very hard. He might be resistant to fire. Let's try a different spell. Let's try ice. My dudes are hitting so hard. We'll just hit again. Do cure 2 on Bert. Weak to lightning, that's probably it. Let's try lightning. Oh no! Odin got one shot. Let's try that. 174 damage. Now he's dead. Should have been lightning. Lightning did it. He's water. You should remember that if he's a water guy, lightning is going to kill him. Alright. Magic. Let's bring Odin back to life. Unfortunately, he didn't get any of that... he didn't get any of that sweet XP. There we go. Alright, done with that dungeon. Do you think a young character can be extraordinarily resilient and stay realistic? You criticized Roald Dahl and Harry Potter for that issue. Well, they can be resilient and be realistic. Yeah, they can be resilient and be realistic. Absolutely they can. But you don't want them to just be completely well-adjusted if they're like a massive abuse victim. That wouldn't make sense. They would have things that have to be adjusted. They have to overcome their abuse. But making a kid an abuse victim is just an easy way to get the audience on his side. It's just kind of a cheap trick. It's like save the cat, kick the dog. You kick the kid so people like him. Barn. Lightning beats water in Final Fantasy games for sure. Yeah, that's it. Should remember that. Or Bam. I remember that as Barn. Looks like Barn. So anyway, that's that. Odin is the hanged god. Odin hung himself from a tree for 9 days, pierced with a spear, and journeyed down into the depths of hell. Journeyed into Niflheim, the Mist Realm, to acquire wisdom. And he traveled and learned runes from witches that he could cut to make dead men come down and speak to him. That's why you would hang criminals, as they were sacrifices to Odin. And then Odin traded an eye for a single draught from Mimir's well, the well of eternal knowledge, and wisdom. That's how he gained his wisdom. He traded one of his eyes. But, you know, in so doing, he also foresaw the end of the gods, which is, you know, unfortunate. Remember the first boss in Final Fantasy IV is weak to lightning, and he's a water guy. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different one. I don't remember who the first boss of Final Fantasy IV actually was. I'll have to play it again. It's been a while. Final Fantasy IV is the Final Fantasy I probably played more than any of them, though. Because I played it like several times before the DS remake, and then I played the DS remake. And then I think I've played it since then, too. So that's the one I played the most. Robot enemies are also weak to lightning. This is a fun thing in Final Fantasy X. You can kill robot enemies by stealing from them. So Riku can just steal from the robot enemies, and it like insta-kills them. So she'll steal a grenade from them, and they just fall apart. I always loved finding that out. And then I taught steal to, I think, Yuna. So Yuna and Riku could just wipe out all the robots. Just pick up that extra skill for whatever character. Made it super useful. Yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna call it here though, guys, because I need to get on with going to sleep and stuff. I'm a little bit tired. So that's Final Fantasy for the day. I think we're all saved and everything. So we will call it there. I do appreciate everybody stopping by and hanging out with me for a while. And I'll see you guys next time. We're getting to the end of this game. I'm trying to think how many levels are left. I think there's like the sky level, and then I don't know what else is next after that. Yeah, there's a sky level, and then I don't know what comes after that. No, yeah, that's it. I think there's a mirage, the tower. There's a tower and then the sky level, and then you go back in time, I think, at the end. You go back and fight. I think the guy from the first boss, but he's like actually powerful. I'm trying to remember. I want to show you this really funny ad on this RPG site. Let me show it to you. It's just really, it's like an ad for a comic, I think. But I think it's really, really funny. Did I really become a concubine? Read now. What kind of comic is this? Oh no, I became a concubine. Reincarnated as a backpack. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Garland, that's it. He has the power of the fiends. But you kill him so easily at the beginning. You just, like, you hit him 2 times and he dies. Alright. Take it easy guys, and I'll see you next time.